From an idea that was sparked by thinking about the common Indian man's vehicle that led to two-wheeler ride sharing to solve for daily commute not only in the bigger cities but also for the masses in smaller towns, to emerging as the largest bike taxi player in India. And from challenging the duopoly of the mightier players in the ride-hailing business to becoming a full-stack mobility platform. This company is making rapid strides in the urban mobility space. On this episode of Disrupted Dialogues, we catch up with Pavan Guntupalli, the co-founder of Rapido, on his path to change how India travels. Hi Pavan, thanks so much for your time on Disrupted Dialogues. Great to be here at the Rapido headquarters.
Thanks for having me so much here, Shivani. It's my pleasure.
Now, Pavan, when you look at the Rapido journey, you're close to completing a decade in the urban mobility space. But the past 12 to 18 months have been particularly, growth driven for you in terms of business, expansion, funding. We've seen, massive impact coming through as well. You've managed to ride the crash that came with COVID, and you've consolidated your position. You've taken on the biggies like an Ola and an Uber. How have you managed to persevere and really create your niche and keep everything together?
Yeah, like you have just mentioned, Shivani, a lot of the achievements, a lot of the milestones that you are seeing in the past 18 months, they are a consequence of the efforts that the teams have put consistently across the years. It can be simply building scalable models of onboarding supply, understanding the supply insights day in and day out, building products for them, and trying to cater to their pain points in each and every category. That is now yielding results. Coming back to taking on the biggies, I think right from 2015, since Rapido started, we have been in competition with a couple of incumbents, but our mission, our approach has always been to make sure that we build a transportation mode that is convenient, affordable and accessible to hundreds of millions of people. The rest is all details of the category, but this has been our major problem statement and our major competition.
Sure. Now, you initially started off as a bike taxi platform, and now you are the largest bike taxi player in the country. Yes. So, take us through some of that initial journey, because you, of course, believe in playing to your strengths. At that point, you said that you don't want to really take on the biggies. You wanted to conserve cash, and the strategy helped you gain users, helped you improve your margin as well as revenue. So how did that play out at that point in time, and what has changed now? Because now you are across auto, cabs as well as delivery and logistics.
When we went into bikes, we were not that concerned about the competition as such. So our start point was when people were claiming that there's a ride-hailing revolution going on in the country. How come majority of the India is still trying to hang on the footboard of a bus, or if they need convenience, they have to burn a hole in their pocket. So we went after bike taxi because we believed that this is the solution, an apt balance between convenience and affordability. Not just for the top 8 metro cities, but for the rest of the population in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities also. And if you come to autos, we launched autos in COVID. Okay, when our business was almost at a standstill. So we said, okay, what can customers access? Autos were a great solution. So, and at that time, if you remember 4 or 5 years ago, online auto penetration wasn't great. We coming into the industry and we trying to understand what can help these guys come online and doing a bunch of product innovations. Did that happen? Now, our choice of cabs are also similar. For the past 5-6 years, the industry of cabs has been stagnant. However, the price for the user has grown by 30-35%. And the earnings for the captain, our driver or the driver partner, it has definitely come down by more than 40%. We entered these industries because we see that there are problems and we believe that we can solve it in a better way.
Even in terms of the challenges, now it's been a year since you launched into the cab space.
Yeah.
Give us a sense of the scale that you've seen. Did you have any challenges in scaling that business, given that there are fairly established players? You've challenged the duopoly of Ola and Uber.
Yeah.
And if you can delve deeper into the gap that you've seen, you've always said, you know, that your competition is largely in the offline space to really bring them online.
There are literally 3+ million cabs in the country as of today. Out of them, 4 to 5 lakh cabs are coming online and participating in some or the other form of online ride sharing. We wanted to figure out what about the rest. What are the barriers? Why are they unable to come and participate online? Because definitely the moment the supply comes online and the demand comes online, there is a benefit for both the parties, right? In terms of better price discovery or in terms of better earning opportunities, and that has been proven. That has been our focus. So as of today, we almost onboarded close to 4.5 lakh cab captains. We currently do more than 2.5 lakh rides every single day. And in certain cities, we are already player number 2 in terms of market size. So for auto, we try to get users, again focusing on fundamentals, which is fulfillment.
Okay.
As of today, Rapido has the best fulfillments in a 3-wheeler category across the country. And that is our mission, to do the same even in 4-wheelers. As of today, in already few cities, Rapido's fulfillment in cabs is already higher than what the existing industry
When you say
standards.
fulfillment, it is the ability to give the ride,
Yes,
the rider,
ability to
the
give
vehicle.
a ride. Ability
Yeah.
to give a ride at the right price. The real challenge is the entire industry has to grow. We currently do 25 lakh rides across all 3 platforms and spread across 100 cities. And that also puts us as one of the largest ride sharing, if not the largest ride sharing platform in the entire country.
Okay, so let's talk about, you know, what you are disrupting and differentiating with. Of course, this entire zero commission model that we've also seen the competition adopting now, you know, they have no
Yes.
choice. We did see Namayatra leading with it. What are the lessons that you learned? How did you adopt it to really scale and get the lead on that?
One of the challenges that we have understood with both autos as well as cabs is the excess commission that is being charged by the current incumbents. That was discouraging a lot of supply to even participate on this platform.
Okay.
Okay, they feel it's unfair. So our solution is, can we remove that barrier and enable them to participate in the online economy? Once you start providing value to a supply, and if they are seeing value, they'll be willing to pay. And that's exactly what happened. We barred all our commission and we started showing the benefits of online, how they can increase their earnings by almost 30 to 40%. Once they have seen the benefits, they were willing to pay upfront for the platform. So currently we collect a login fee instead of commission that the captains have to pay. Sometimes daily, weekly, monthly, different models.
What is the range of this?
So the range depends on city to city. It can range from 9 rupees to 39 rupees across. So as of today, because of this approach, Rapido is currently leading the auto category across the country.
Oh, so you're looking more at the volume game, right? Because when you take on the zero commission model, the margins do get impacted in a sense. Your bike taxi vertical still follows the older commission model.
Yeah.
And here you are looking at more of a volume game. How are you playing it?
Because autos and cabs, they derive their primary livelihood literally from these vehicles. Like you rarely see a part-time auto driver.
Yeah.
You rarely see a part-time cab driver,
Got it.
right? They literally earn their primary livelihood from these models, right? So asking them to pay for the platform upfront, we believe it has value. Versus the same thing in bike. Some person might want to only do one ride. Some person wants to do 10 rides. You cannot upfront say, hey, pay me, let's say X amount and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Right? Which is why we believe in bike, commission model is very relevant, because the kind of flexibility that a supplier requires to participate in this economy is different. Hence, we kind of follow this.
Got it. You've sort of established all these verticals. Which is the vertical that contributes most to your revenue, and where are you looking at the big growth driver out of these three?
Our belief has been bike taxi is going to penetrate not just the top 8 cities, but the next 200-300 million population. There is a bike on the roads in the village that you can always spot. You cannot easily spot a cab in a tier 2, tier 3 town.
Right.
Right? Given that India is home to the largest two-wheeler manufacturers, the largest two-wheeler base itself, having more than 200 million two-wheelers, we believe that is going to be our major growth driver. As of today also, our major rides come from bike taxi.
So take us through, your journey with bike taxis, because that was, of course, your initial product, so to speak. It's been a really rocky ride over there, because initially every 6 months it was, a question of survival, and then we saw this explosive growth. You were really the category creators when it came to that. The others sort of let go of it, saying that it is a low ticket, low margin sort of space, but then it went and became super popular. You had to build trust, of course, because, this whole concept of someone you don't know riding with you, how did you really build this category out?
What we believed is, if we are able to make a woman sit on a stranger's bike in a tier 2 town, in a dimly lit street, if we are able to make her reach a destination safely, we believed it is history worthy. Despite the chances of success are very minimal, and I'm talking back in 2015 where there were minimal regulations, some other players with a lot more funding. Are we the people who are best positioned to do this, to take on this challenge? No. But are we the people with the best intent to take on this challenge? Yes. Initial few years have been a bit rocky, with we trying to collaborate with the governments, trying to make them understand the benefits of bike taxi, trying to make them see the problem that a lot of public is facing on a day in and day out basis in terms of their commute solution. As of today, the roads in almost all the metro cities, they are occupied to 400% than what they could handle. What happened over the past 10-15 years is the pace of migration has far exceeded the pace of infrastructure development. So, which is one of the reasons why we see a routine traffic jams, not just in one city, across all the big cities during peak times. Our simple thesis was 95% of these vehicles are two-wheelers, and most of them travel by themselves. Can you start leveraging that invisible infrastructure, that underutilized infrastructure, to build a commute solution and relieve the commuter of his woes?
Yeah.
At the same time, creates employment. So it took time for us to collaborate with the government to sort of make them see the benefits, but definitely a lot of state governments have been supportive, and they have been super progressive, immediately recognizing the benefits, the scale of impact that bike taxi can create.
Yeah.
And then they started putting in a framework allowing us to operate. At the same time, because we have always been cash crunched right from the start, we have been forced to develop this category from first principles. We knew for a fact, if we are establishing a category, and one of the fundamental principle, which is safety, if it is not intact, the entire category can turn upside down. We started with insurance, ride insurance, that starts the moment the ride starts and ends the moment ride ends. Nowadays it's common, but back in 2015 we started doing that. Right from having stringent verification procedures, 24/7 support for any emergencies, I think those fundamentals have been focused on, and over the course, we have just doubled down on it.
And going back to, the challenges that you pointed out, there was this whole uproar over whiteboard bike taxi versus a yellow board bike taxi. Now we've also got the transport ministry saying that bike taxis should be given permits to operate as contract carriers. What really is the latest on that front?
Bikes can be used as taxis. This is a provision that has been existing in the Central Motor Vehicle Act right from long ago. That has been further clarified and re-emphasized in a notification where they have further clarified and emphasized, hey, bikes can be used as taxis. As of today, more than 10 states have already had a framework to regulate bike taxi. The rest of the states, they are still in the process of coming up with a framework. But like I mentioned, the provision to allow a bike to become a bike taxi already exists in the Central Motor Vehicle Act.
A lot of clarity there, and that obviously, gives more of a push for the business as well. Now, going across to, the B2B play that you're also getting into, which is fairly recent, both on the delivery side as well as, e-commerce, logistics. How aggressive are you on that front? Because we also know that Swiggy is a key investor. Is that some sort of a strategic partnership that you are looking at when it comes to quick commerce? So give me a sense of your B2B play really, and also how you are going after quick commerce, which is really where all the buzz is right now.
We want to keep Captain at the center and see what does he require. Our simple solution has been whatever that can either accentuate, amplify, increase their earnings, we will do it. As you know, transportation has a lot of peaks and dulls. We wanted to compensate that with food delivery, which kind of complements the timings and also increases the earnings of the captains. So we have had food delivery for almost 8 years, much before Swiggy became our investor. And the same is the principle that we will go with e-commerce, quick commerce. As newer opportunities are coming, we would want Rapido to be that platform where captains can come and earn across the platforms, across the times, across the days, and not worry about, if they have access to all these individual companies or platforms.
And the other aspect really that is picking up is the entire EV space, right? There again, you have Pavan Guntupalli as one of your investors, as TVS Motor Company as well. Is there any sort of partnership that you're looking at with them? And what is your entire outlook on, onboarding EVs?
So our approach for EV has always been not buying vehicles by ourselves, and then putting it on our platform. And call it or term it as electrification. No, there are literally 12 to 16 million vehicles being sold every year in this country. Bikes, two-wheelers. Right now, hardly less than 5% of the vehicles out of this entire vehicle sold are electric. How can we make that 50%? What are the ecosystem support that either the customer needs or the EV industry needs to make this happen? It can be as simple as sometimes solving better EV financing, solving for a second-hand market for EV so that people get more confidence of buying an EV vehicle, solving some charging infrastructure. Without solving these fundamentals, just trying to come up with an initiative for 100,000 vehicles is not an approach we are thinking of going. We would want it to be sustainable, and so a number of our discussions and efforts are in these directions.
So you're looking to solve some of these pain points before
we
onboarding?
Have to solve some of these. If we want to create more environmental impact, I cannot be looking at 100,000 vehicles. We are trying to make sure how can we get a lot more people buy EVs and then come onto our platform.
Are you looking at sort of rolling out a full stack mobility platform covering the complete value chain when it comes to urban mobility? And by that I mean, say, bus ticketing, metro, all of that included on the Rapido platform?
Our simple idea is if somebody is stepping out, Rapido should be their partner. If people want to go on metro, how can I make that journey much more simpler. A simple thing like a metro journey has 3 legs. From his home to the metro station, from metro station to the drop metro station, from there to final destination.
Last mile, yeah.
There are 3 legs, and in all probability 3 different vehicles involved, 3 different booking experiences involved. Can we sort of make it more convenient? These are definitely the directions that we'll be going ahead with.
You've of course turned unicorn earlier this year, done your latest series E round after say 75 failed investor pitches when you started out, you know. So how do you believe investors are looking at you differently? And there is a lot of action in the IPO market as well. Are you looking at that?
One thing that has happened definitely post-COVID, the startup as a segment itself was facing some funding winter. What happened is a lot of investors out there started focusing not just about growth, but the cost at which the growth is coming. They started focusing more on fundamentals. And for a company that has always been, you know, focused on running business in a very sustainable way, we believe these funding winter came as a boon in disguise for us, for companies like us. And that is the renewed interest that you are currently seeing.
How do you look at your path to profitability? We've seen FY23, your operating revenues grew threefold. But in terms of really the overall business and how it is shaping up?
Since the past 2 years, we have been operationally profitable. Okay. And a number of moves that we have made in the past 2 years have always ensured that we are not a burn machine, that we are consistently having the unit economics in place, the operational profitability in place, but at the same time, we always want to go for high growth while having a steady path towards profitability, and that is the journey we are on.
Any sort of, duration you have?
The news shouldn't be more than months away.
Okay.
Few months away, that's it.
Yeah, and we look forward to that. Pavan, thanks for so patiently taking us through, you know, how you really built this business and the future outlook. Let's also go out and get a sense from your driver partners, your captains, to really get a sense of what hooks them onto Rapido.
Definitely. I think if I say it is just a statement, if they say it's the truth. Let's go.
So let's take a look at what and who really form the core backbone here at Rapido. And thanks, Pavan, for the opportunity to really meet your driver partners, who you aptly call captains.
Yes.
They are the key stakeholders here. Give us a sense of how many you have registered on the platform, and even in terms of daily actively servicing your customers at Rapido.
Over the course of last 9 years, Rapido has managed to create almost 8 million jobs across the country. More than 40%, which is close to 3 to 4 million jobs, have been created outside the metro cities, where the access to job opportunities is pretty minimal, right? Over the course of next 5 years, we believe that we can actually create 5 million more jobs.
Yeah.
And as of today, every single day, 1 million captains participate to earn their livelihoods on Rapido platform.
How do you incentivize your supply side driver partners? You have so many options today, you know, the big competitors like Ola and Uber, then you also have quick commerce, the delivery platforms. So how do they remain hooked onto Rapido?
Yeah, so one of the core principles of Rapido is we have always kept our captain at the center, always kept his constraints and his convenience at the center. It can be a time constraint, it can be an availability constraint, it can be some physical material requirement constraint, whatever it is. Like a quick example is in e-commerce requires a person to continuously work from morning till evening.
Right.
However, if you want to be all inclusive, like as you can see, we have almost 8% of our captains as women captains. Now a woman has her own responsibilities sometimes, where she needs to do her household responsibilities. We still want to figure out a way how to make such people participate on our platform, have access to this opportunity. So we try to make sure that even if anybody with a vehicle, if they have 1-2 hours or time, no matter what their constraints, Rapido can have an offering, whether they want to deliver a passenger, a food, a parcel, whatever it is. We want to give them access to that platform.
So in terms of, making them part of Rapido family, if I were to call it that, how do you sort of reward and recognize them, because they are not really treated as, say, full-time employees, they are your partners and stakeholders in a sense.
While they are not directly our team members, but we consider nothing short of them. Right from their insurance requirements. As of now, every captain that is enrolled on Rapido gets mandatory insurance. All accidental insurance is covered and taken care by Rapido itself. Along with that, not just for the captain himself, we have an offering where for his family, we are trying to offer health insurance. Along with that, if our captains are in need of some financial money, it can be for his kids' education, it can be for maybe building a house, or it can be for any particular emergency in his life. We have an opportunity to provide microloans, which we have started a couple of years ago, and we have already disbursed a substantial amount to our captains via this initiative. Along with that, we are not just focusing on people with the vehicle. For people without the vehicle, if they still want an earning opportunity, we give them access to vehicle loans, give them access as to how they can get a vehicle. So Rapido as a platform is there to support anybody with that intent to earn money. This is along with every month, our team members celebrate the top performing captains across all cities.
Great to see these initiatives in terms of verification, their licensing and security, all of that. How do you really onboard and verify the captains?
All our captains are made to go through a stringent verification process, after that a training process. And one thing that we do uniquely as compared to any other company in this segment is handholding. Every one of his aspect, including the speed he drives with, the kind of turns he takes, sharp turns he takes, his subjective etiquette behavior with the user. We try to track almost everything sometimes with the help of our in-app technology, telematics, and sometimes with the feedback that is provided by the user. We go the actual extra mile on the customer side. Any route deviation that our captain does, any unnecessary time stop that happens during their ride, we still have a proactive check-in on the customers to see if they are safe or not. Any ride that happens during the late night, mandatorily we check in on all customers if both the captain and the customer have reached safe. We believe that this industry is going to be built on the pillar of safety.
Sure, we've heard it from you. Now let's get a sense from them.
Yes.
It's great to have partners and captains from all verticals, like you mentioned, cab, auto, bike as well. तो मैं पहले आपसे पूछती हूँ कि आपको रैपिडो के बारे में क्या पसंद है कि आपने रैपिडो में रजिस्टर किया, क्योंकि आज के ज़माने में इतने सारे ऑप्शंस हैं, ओला है, ऊबर है, फूड डिलीवरी है, लॉजिस्टिक्स भी है.
ನಾನು ಫಸ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 25% 30% ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ರ್ಯಾಪಿಡೋದಲ್ಲಿ 0% ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ರ್ಯಾಪಿಡೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
ರ್ಯಾಪಿಡೋಗೆ ಬಂದಮೇಲೆ ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ. ಯಾರ ಹತ್ರನೂ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಟೈಮಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಬಂದಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರದೇ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರ್ದು ಯಾಕೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಏನಿಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮ ಇಷ್ಟ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು.
ನಮ್ಮದು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ನೋಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ನೋಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಇದಿದೆ.
ನಾನು ಬೈಕ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ಮುಂಚೆ 10 to 5 ಜಾಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, ಆವಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಫ್ರಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ಈ ಅಪರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ ಬಂದಾಗಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಇದೆ, आराम ನಾವು ड्यूटी ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ.
और आपका मतलब डेली का तनख्वाह कितना होता है? आपको कुछ डेली का गारंटी सैलरी कितना मिलता है?
8 से 10 घंटे तक काम करता हूँ मैं. 2000 से 2000 प्लस कर रहा हूँ मैडम. सो नो प्रॉब्लम. सबसे अच्छा है ये रैपिडो. आर्ट का कुछ झंझट नहीं है.
और आप कितने साल से या कितने महीने से रैपिडो में?
मैं 7 महीने से कर रहा हूँ मैम. इसमें मेरा किधर बेंगलुरु में किधर भी जाओ, इधर रैपिडो का ऑर्डर्स मिलता है हमको.
Thank you to all the captains. And Pavan, we really heard it from them, what's really hooking them on to Rapido. But there is a lot of things that we get to read in the public domain as well, in terms of customer pain points as well as captain pain points, and that is something that you all also keep iterating, on. So I just want to highlight some of those things: high fuel costs, customers put in the wrong drop locations, there is a lot of traffic jam and they need to navigate through the traffic jam, things like, of course, back pain, which is not really something that the company can do about. But how do you look at some of these inherent problems that come with the job?
Once in every month, literally from the founder to the entry level team member, everybody is out on the ground acting as a captain, trying to understand the pain points, not just trying, feeling the pain points. Just a simple thing like sun glare.
Okay.
Because bike is an open environment and the sun directly falls on your mobile. It doesn't make it easy for the captain to see, read and immediately process.
True.
So we gather a lot of our insights from going out in the market, and each and every one of those insights and pain points become a part of our product roadmap. We launched auto safety belts in a vehicle like Auto.
Okay.
It is one of its kind. Auto share is again one of its kind and the first in its industry. For our captains, some back tags and neck supports, we literally have a QR mode of payment that directly comes in our app that you can directly pay to the captain.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't want to go through the hassle of going through a wallet and everything, we ensure that there's a UPI generated for each and every order for the captain himself. In terms of price, we are the first ones to understand that there is price flexibility that both sometimes a captain requires, sometimes a customer requires. So we launched something called Flexi Fare, where a customer can decide his or her own price and suggest it to the captain.
Okay.
So a lot of these are just industry first.
Great to see these little disruptions that you are doing, and from an overall perspective as well, in terms of the dynamics of the urban mobility space, how are you looking at it evolving, because on the other side you also have regulations, there's of course competition, premium versions of urban mobility that come up, and rural areas that are not really scalable, or you can't reach those areas. So how are you really looking at the overall dynamics?
We have three major pillars. One is convenience, one is affordability, one is accessibility. Like you have rightly mentioned, in a lot of these smaller towns, take a town like Jorhat in the northeast or Salem in the south. The transportation options after 9 p.m. are very scarce. Rapido there is not just providing convenience, it is providing accessibility for anybody who wants to step out of their homes during those times. Rapido is one of the only option available out there.
Wow, yeah.
We want Rapidos to be accessible by hundreds of millions of people. So we are always figuring out ways to reduce price. It can be via our EV initiative, it can be via our shared mode initiative. So a bunch of these things we keep pursuing so that we can give affordability to our users.
Sure. And lastly, any anecdote or incident that you may want to bring up in terms of any instance when the captains have gone out of their way, or overshot expectations to really stand up for Rapido?
There are just amazing stories. There is this person who married literally the girl he loves, and they are devoid of income. They did not have parent support. He's studying law, but for him to support his family, he starts doing Rapido as a part-time. Then there is this woman in Guwahati who lost her husband, and for the first time ever in her life, she had to be the breadwinner, and she wanted to support her child's education. A number of these stories across different walks of life. I think that is one of the most important things that keeps us going.
Sure. Thank you so much, Pavan, and great to hear such stories of human and societal impact. Kudos to what you and your team here are building.
Thank you for having me.